Hey everyone, Wydeck here again, welcoming you to Game 1 of a Best of 5 series from the Kaspersky Arena September 2013 final. And this time on Derelict Watcher, spawning in the top right as the Red Zerg, representing Team Liquid, we've got the Little One. And I like TLO, that's a lot of O's. And then Nerchio, I guess it kind of spoils who is spawning in the bottom left as the Little One's opponent. Also as a Zerg, but this time green. Representing Team Acer, we've got Nerchio. Don't need casters. Oh, okay. Interesting comments by both players. No need to hype me. I didn't win anybody. I'm making an Overlord, so I seem to be confident. Yes, and TLO did beat Happy and Cop before he arrived at the finals, because I don't all-in 10 pool. Yeah, all-in 10 pools probably are not that effective, so avoiding all-in 10 pools is probably a pretty good strategy. Yeah, I'm not so confident. Okay, we'll have to see who's going to come out on top. Nerchio and TLO are both very good Zerg players. Nerchio is going to be opening up with a spawning pool. It looks like the Little One is going to be going for a natural hatchery expansion first. Oh no, he's going for spawning pool as well. He's just droning up a bit more. So interesting. So Nerchio has a lot less drones to show for it. If you take a look, TLO has 14 drones and Nerchio only has 9. So when Nerchio was saying how good TLO was, and TLO said, oh, I don't all-in 10 pool. Well, Nerchio does, apparently. So maybe a little bit of reverse psychology, some mind games going on here. And by the time that spawning pool finishes, those Zerglings should be already knocking on the door. It's got another 20 seconds or so before it finishes. Let's see. Now, TLO's Overlord is able to spot these Zerglings, I think. Yeah, I think he was able to spot it. And if not, he should be able to spot it with this Overlord. But it doesn't matter. There we go. He is able to confirm the Zerglings are heading toward his base. Now, he's got a few choices here. Is he going to cancel the hatch, or is he going to hold on to it? Either way, he's going to have to get some drones up. And now he is supply blocked as well, so this could be a problem because he can't build additional queens or Zerglings to reinforce this hatchery. So it looks like he is going to be pulling drones off the mineral line to try and save this hatchery. But I think this hatchery has taken too much damage. It'll be very difficult for TLO to try and protect this hatchery. Nerchio is playing ring around the Rosie with the Zerglings. And with the drones in the back, I don't think they're going to provide a lot of DPS. TLO's expansion hatchery is still under a lot of harassment, and there's way more Zerglings here for Nerchio. We've got 9-4 in the Zergling counts, and this does not bode well for TLO. Great micro from Nerchio. TLO is going frantic, trying to control these drones and Zerglings. The hatchery does finish. I don't know if that's a good thing, because now the cancel is out of the options for TLO. Now the Queen is here, and the Queen does provide additional DPS, and the most important thing is, it has range. But unfortunately, the Zerglings are just going to run up that ramp to the main, and the Queen is so slow without any creep spread that these Zerglings are going to be poking around for a little while longer. So, pretty good harass by Nerchio, but I don't think that he did enough damage to really make it worth it. He is behind economic-wise, as he's still down by 4 drones, even though he did pick off some drones of TLOs. He picked off 2. But like I said, I don't think he did enough damage. And there we go. All the Zerglings have been dispatched. And if you take a look at the supply, TLO is ahead by a small amount. But you have to remember, he does have more drones, like I said. He's got 20-17. And he's also got that hatchery up earlier than Nerchio. Now, Nerchio's hatchery is up as well. But it looks like this counterforce of Zerglings from TLO is going to be able to wreak a little bit of pain. But not that much. So Nerchio is going to be able to stabilize. Very interesting first few minutes in the game. Nerchio went for a very early attack with Zerglings. It wasn't that effective. Now, obviously, if he got the hatchery, that attack would have been totally worth it, and I believe Nerchio would be way ahead. But simply because he couldn't destroy this hatchery, I think TLO is in a pretty good position compared to our green Zerg in the bottom left. We have the Baneling's Nest almost done for TLO, as well as Zergling speed. And once those two things finish, Nerchio is going to be in a lot of trouble because, one, he doesn't have any gas. And, well, that is the main point. He doesn't have any gas, so he can't get Zergling speed, so his Zerglings are going to be a lot slower. And he doesn't have any Banelings either to counter TLO's Banelings. So when you don't have those upgrades and your opponent does, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who's going to be ahead. Now, we do have a small pack of 6 Zerglings moving into the main base, harassing drones, able to pick off 1 drone. And still harassing and doing some damage here. Still hanging out in the bottom left side of the map. Nerchio is trying to counter. But like I said, TLO does have Zergling speed. And Nerchio does not look at these slow lings. And now another drone will be picked off. TLO is going to retreat once again, saving half his Zerglings. But they're finally going to get feasted on by Nerchio's Zerglings. So TLO was able to pick off another few drones, bringing up the total drone kill count to 3. But I think once these Banelings are formed, TLO might straight out win the game, but he's not actually building any Banelings, so a little interesting. I thought that he would be going for a two-base timing, but instead he's going to Roach War, an Evolution Chamber, and a 3rd hatchery that Nerchio spots immediately. And at the same time, he'll be upgrading his hatchery, his damaged hatchery, into a lair. This is an interesting choice, simply because it will give some more life to this building once it upgrades, because lairs do have more life than hatcheries. But it might be a little risky too, because if Nerchio is able to attack the natural, because the lair is compromised in its health status, see, it only got 100 more life out of the 500 that the 500 difference. I don't know if that's really worth it. And if this lair gets focused down, it might get taken out, and then TLO would have to form another lair. So this is a little bit of a risky play by TLO. We'll have to see if Nerchio's able to spot it. Now, Nerchio is able to spot the Banelings from TLO, so he knows exactly what TLO has. And Nerchio's trying to counter with a 3rd base of his own, as well as Zergling speed. But I don't see a Roach Warren, but I do see a Baneling's nest. So once the Roaches come out, Banelings are generally fairly ineffective against Roaches. So we'll have to see if Nerchio's gonna be. Yes, he is. He's morphing 11 Banelings right now. It looks like he's ready to strike. He's got a lot of Zerglings on the field. According to the units tab, he's got 36 Zerglings, and that's quite a few Zerglings. But remember, Zerglings are melee units, so a few Baneling connections, and all these Zerglings can go down in a hurry. And Roaches are not that good against Zerglings. You want to get Baneling connection. Oh my gosh, great Baneling connection from TLO. Able to destroy about half those Banelings from Nerchio. The supply is plummeting for both players, but more so for our green player. Able to get 7 drones with 2 Baneling connections, so good move by Nerchio, but he's still down by about 10 supply, but he is attacking that lair. It's down to 150 so life, but the Zerglings are just going to stampede up that ramp, surround those Roaches, and now TL is really reeling. This attack from Nerchio has been very effective. We got 5 Roaches defending this ramp. The Zerglings are encompassing all these Roaches, and there are more reinforcing Zerglings just constantly surrounding the Roaches. The Roaches don't have much of a reprieve, and I don't see any Banelings on the way. So can the Zerglings destroy all these Roaches from TLO? The supplies are very, very close, and the Zerglings are constantly streaming across the map. And I only see more Roaches coming from TLO, but the Roaches really haven't been doing that great of a job against so many Zerglings. The Zerglings just get full surrounds, and the Roaches can't really figure out what to focus on. And for the first time in a long time, TLO is actually behind in supply, and the constant stream of Zerglings is still darting across the map. I think TLO is in a very difficult position here. He's lost a lot of resources, almost 2,000 more than Nerchio. And he's not even mining from his 2nd or 3rd bases. The drones have been pulled off that 3rd base, and now the Zerglings are coming in again, and all the egg production is basically 100% Zerglings, and it's just going to be Roaches versus Zerglings until the end of the game, I think, and the end of the game might come very soon. Teal is having a very difficult time stabilizing, and he's pulled his drones off too, which means he's not mining nearly as many minerals as he needs. But he is able to use the drones as a wall to buffer the Roaches from the Zergling attacks. But is this going to be enough? Because I constantly see more and more Zerglings streaming across the map. And now that lair is going to get picked off. Like I said before, if you upgrade a damaged hatchery, it might bite you in the back later. Now, the supplies are evening out, but at the same time, the army is just constantly attacking all of TLO's Roaches. These Zerglings are just streaming in constantly, and there seems to be no end in sight. The hatchery is down at the natural. The 3rd base is mining again, But you have to remember, Nerchio does have a third hatchery. So if the game was even just minutes ago, it's not going to be even for much longer because Nerchio does have 3 hatcheries compared to TLO's 2. And now the Zerglings are going to be attacking the third. I think these drones are next on the hit list. No, they are going to go back to surround these roaches. The roaches are trying to kite away, but Zerglings are much faster than roaches. And this is not going to bode well for TLO's roaches. I think TLO is basically finished here. He's got a few roaches left. He's got 6, 7 roaches, but there's just so many Zerglings. And 1-1 is almost finished as well for Nerchio. And I think once that finishes, there we go. This is going to be basically lights out for TLO and his non-upgraded roaches. I think 1-1 Zerglings are very good against the roaches. And unfortunately, TLO is going to have to tap out. He's lost a lot of resources. So very interesting turn of events. TLO said, well, I don't 10 pool all in. And Nerchio kind of went for a 9 pool, I believe it was. And it worked out. It put TLO on notice. That Nerchio was going to employ some different strategies. And TLO was able to counter, and he actually had 3 bases compared to Nerchio's 2 for a while. And he had a 20 or 30 supply lead at a certain point in the game. But unfortunately, the army composition wasn't very good. Just a whole bunch of Zerglings was able to take down all those roaches. And then from then on, for the last 3 minutes of the game, it was just stream after stream of armies of Zerglings, rushing into TLO's base, and TLO was not able to compensate. So Nerchio is going to win Game 1 of this best of 5. Let's head over to Game 2 to see what happens next.